I have been proselytizing the podcast and sending it to as many soccer and non-soccer fans as possible. And the overwhelming feedback before anyone talked about anything else, I think I heard from 5 different people that said, shorten the intro. Everyone hates a long intro. It's too long. Shorten it.
Yeah, that's a good point.
For
the
what
music,
it's worth,
you mean?
Yeah, just like the music with like the bull store calls, just the opening intro is too long and people hate that.
You know what?
Take it
They're right.
value.
No, they're right, because when you think about it, I listen to a lot of podcasts, and some of the like Joe Rogan podcasts, I don't know if you guys listen to it, I'm jumping in 10 minutes in automatically because I know there's advertising. I know I just skip everything until they're starting to talk about something interesting, you know. So I wouldn't be surprised if people are doing that. That's a good way to do it. I like that.
See, I had it shortened to a minute. I figured that was pretty short compared to a lot of podcasts I listen to. I can shorten. You have to have some kind of intro though, because you don't want to just like jump in and be like.
But you have us. We always have to, say our weird usernames and everything. I mean, we're kind of that's sort of the intro.
You can get away with the usernames.
Yeah.
But how will people know how to come yell at me for something stupid that I say?
Well, they won't. That's the beautiful thing, is they won't be able to.
Or it's people say, you're the guy from the podcast.
So this is a total aside, but I was joking around with somebody on the Timbers subreddit, and they were like, "Oh, when's this gonna happen?" I was like, "Oh, that's Merritt, ha ha ha," and they actually did on Twitter. And then some dude was like, "I just found you," and like posted a link to me tweeting at Merritt Paulson and saying like, when are the friendlies going to be on? And so suddenly there was like, 15 people who were like, "Oh, that's who you are. I've always wondered who you were." And I was like, "Fuck, like this is kind of awkward." Suddenly all these people like, "Oh,
they're getting popular,"
but not popular. It's more like accountable. It's not.
Well,
wait, let me just go grab a glass of water really quick.
That's fine. I gotta
agreed.
plug in my computer.
Good to do it now. Get it out of the way. Let's see here.
So your team's good now, Dennis.
Yeah.
How are you gonna deal with that?
I don't know. It's gonna be a really weird feeling. Honestly, I don't know. I'm very superstitious though. I feel like something's gonna happen, and I know the articles for like what do you call it? There's already articles primed. I'm sure, just waiting. Like, oh, did TFC overspend? Look at the results for the first 4 matches. They're not very good, Like, I'm just waiting for those articles to come out because I know they're already written and they're just waiting on that post button.
Yeah.
But
I'm
happy.
It'd be terribly unfair to judge TFC after 4 or 5 matches, honestly.
We'll see, though. I mean, I'm really happy, and I'm just curious what season ticket prices will be like next year, and what's going to happen with Argo's expansion, because they're thinking about expanding the field out. We really don't want them there, but
oh yeah,
it sounds like we kind of can't say no with all these awesome signings. It's kind of really hard to turn around and be like, yeah, well.
That'll be a thing. Okay, so one thing. All right, last thing before we start. Is this the right? I guess you know what. I'll just figure out as we segue. And
you got long hair now too. Yeah.
Who, me?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I haven't had a haircut in like, I don't know, 15 months I think.
Yes, join the club.
All right, so we're gonna start. Hello, folks, and welcome to Slash MLS Season 2,
I'm
Episode
gonna cut you
3.
I'm gonna cut you off right now. We gotta move the mic back. It's popping pretty bad.
All right, hold on a second.
How's my audio? Because I feel like
your audio is fine.
Yeah,
your
it's
audio
okay.
is fine. Let me. All right, there's not a whole lot I can do about mic placement, but I can make my volume go a little bit lower. How is this?
Start saying some peas.
Poo.
Please pass the potatoes.
Much better.
Yep,
Okay.
much better.
All right. Hello, folks, and welcome to Slash MLS Season 2, Episode 3. I am, of course, Ian, username Armascarhu. We have Dennis joining us for the first time this year.
Hi there, guys. My name is Dennis, and my username is Denmar.
And I'm Josh, and my username is 97227ist. I almost always get those numbers wrong. Like, I want to say them out of order every time.
And I'm Pete, and I am username PunkRockPete.
All right, so I think we'll start today by talking about the big football match that happened this last weekend. I, of course, am talking about America versus South Korea, not that other random thing that happened on the gridiron, whatever that was. So, what'd y'all think? America 2, South Korea 0. MLS better than K-League, obviously. What I'm getting from that anyway.
To whom would that be shocking news, though? Like,
Yeah.
Okay, actually, wait. Here's a better question. Does anybody know anything about the K-League other than that it's in Korea? Because I don't.
This one time when I was like 15 and I started playing FIFA and I wanted to beat all the leagues, I played the K-League. So that's what I know about them.
That's dedication right there.
Oh, I've got a good story. One time, a guy in my office and I were playing, and I had Bayer Leverkusen or some German team, and he picked a random K-League team, and he beat me, and I threw the controller across the room because I was so mad. And that's, yeah. But so my big takeaway from that was that Chris Wondolowski is a great goal poacher against lesser opposition.
Yeah, absolutely.
I just have an incredibly hard time seeing him doing that against a better team, and when there's more pressure on him, I just don't see it happening. I know a lot of people were saying that they thought he should get called up to the national team and go to Brazil. I really don't see him providing a whole lot for the.
I wish that Wondo had gotten some call-ups against those larger teams, because I feel like he does get that, brought against him every time. Oh, well, it was in the Gold Cup and they were lesser opponents, and then he steps it up a little bit more and scores again. And I agree with you, Josh. I do think that in the end he's probably going to get left out for a good reason, but I feel like.
Who's he competing against? Is he competing against Eddie Johnson for that last striker spot, do you think? Maybe Mike McGee's in there?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's valid. And, the argument against Eddie is going to be form and how does he play for DC. But, I mean, the end line is that Eddie has come up big in games against larger opponents.
That's just the he scored against Mexico.
Yeah.
Exactly.
He scored against Panama and Seattle. I mean, those aren't little moments by any means.
And he can play in a couple different positions as well. I mean, he's not like a natural winger or second striker, but Klinsmann plays him outside of the forward, like, number 9 position. He does pretty well at it. So I think that's another thing that Wondo is not going to do. Wondo is going to hang out in the box and poach chances, and
we know
that doesn't provide a lot of flexibility.
Yeah, and Eddie has the ability to come on in the 75th minute and score goals against big opponents. He doesn't have to start to be an impact player, and I'm not sure that Wondo can say that.
Mm-hmm.
Not to mention, I mean, I think Eddie Johnson's hold-up play is a little bit underrated. I know a lot of people like to piss on him for, I don't know, that one little spell in South Korea where he did step over, back heel ball out of bounds, which was pretty funny, and I was at the soccer bar being like, "Go Eddie Johnson!" Oh, no, oh, why Eddie? But because I have to root for him now. But
I am contractually obligated to like this man.
I mean, he might be the first DC United player to go to the World Cup since I think maybe 2002, maybe even 1998. So. Yeah, I mean, when back then in '98 they had like 7, so there's that. But I don't know.
No, you're on the money. I mean, in Seattle we've made jokes for 2 years about step overs into the corner, but the truth is he absolutely does have a great hold-up game. I mean, he can put his back to the goal and help his teammates out and do what he needs to do. So I agree. I think that Wondo, given an extra year of qualifying and the chance to play against some better sides, maybe he sneaks in, but he doesn't have any time left.
I also think we've seen him partner with Josie Altidore better than any other striker. not name Dempsey or Donovan. And I think, maybe one of those two plays in the striker position, but they haven't traditionally for Jurgen. So, I mean, in that Bosnia game, they had Eddie Johnson and Altidore up front, and it was great. And they had that combo again in the Panama game, and it went well. I think that's what Klinsmann likes the most so far, but we'll see.
Other takeaways?
Yeah. Well, for me, something Alexi Lawless said that was really important. Sometime in like the 30th minute, when Korea got this really good chance, streaking down the left side. Obviously the Korea finisher didn't finish it, but he said, Ghana finishes that chance, Germany finishes that chance, Portugal finishes that chance, and that's important because 3 of those guys that played in that defense yesterday, Beasler, Gonzalez, and I think
Evans.
Evans, yeah, 3 of those guys are probably going to be playing, if not starting, in the back line in the World Cup, and it's going to be extremely important for them to keep their form and keep people in front of them, because speed might be an issue. What do y'all think?
I am a huge Brad Evans fan, being representing the Sounders, but I'm
obligated.
Exactly, contractually. I mean, honestly, everyone has come around to Brad Evans. Brad Evans kind of got shit on a lot before last year, even by Sounders fans, the majority of them. The thing about Brad Evans is that he has an incredibly high soccer IQ. He's not the most athletic guy on the field. And he's not the most technical player on the field, but he's a general. He sees the game, and I'm not sure that right back is really the place where that skill comes in the most. And he's clearly a competent right back. I mean, the opinion is that the spot is his to lose as of right now. But even as a fan, I too am concerned against sides like Ghana, Portugal, and Germany that
Right.
Brad Evans might not have what it takes on the left side for striking.
So I'm wondering, why Brad Evans and why not Jeff Cameron? Klinsmann keeps playing Jeff Cameron in that defensive central midfielder role, like alongside Bradley or behind Bradley even, or next to Beckerman or whatever. But Cameron starts at right back for Stoke in the EPL, and Evans doesn't start for right back. I mean, he starts for the Sounders, but not there. What's going on there? I wonder.
I don't know. Klinsmann is difficult to guess sometimes. I mean, I know that he likes players like Evans. He likes, he likes high IQ guys, but I have to agree with you. I mean, Evans is a great midfielder for the Sounders. He is, the quintessential utility player in the midfield. If you need him to attack and, help with linkage, he can do that. If you need him to sit back with Ozzy Alonso and play a more defensive role, he can do that as well. And he does slot in at right back in times of great need and serious emergency, but it's by no means his natural position.
Right.
But I don't have a better answer than that.
Well, do you think he wants to play him in sort of a role that, and I know this isn't like the quintessential example, but the one that comes best to my head is in 2012 when DC was good. We used Nahar as the right back to someone to push forward. Do you think Evans serves that role, and do you think Yedlin, who came on for him, serves that role even better?
I think Yedlin serves that role better because he's a lot faster, and he can, he can move a lot more. He can cover a lot more ground along the right sideline. But I think the thing about Jeff Cameron that I really like is that he's a solid. He's a very solid defender. He's competent. He's comfortable. He's playing against really good players week in, week out. And he's also got pretty good service into the box. I mean, I've seen him put a couple of really beautiful crosses in, and I think that's something that, we're probably going to be reliant against Ghana, Germany, Portugal on, somebody just catching a defender unaware and Eddie Johnson catching a defender unaware and getting up over on top of them and getting a goal, or getting something out of a ball pinging off around in the box, from a sharp cross that catches people unaware. So I would like to see somebody like Jeff Cameron. I think Yedlin, I mean, the thing about him is that he's so incredibly fast, but he's not he's great on as a pure wingback, somebody who doesn't have a huge amount of defensive responsibility, somebody who's always got someone who can come in cover for him. I don't know if we have the formation or cover for him when he bombs forward. Even though he can get back really quickly, he's still, at least in the bit that I've seen him, and Pete's going to have seen him a lot more than me, but he always looked like somebody who was a little uncomfortable with defensive responsibilities. He was fine being there, and he was great on cover. But going in on tackle on guys, or really breaking up passing lanes and that stuff. He's young, so it's not a huge flaw or a shock. But I think he's too young to be a right back if you're going to have a four-man back line.
Yeah, you're right on target. At the beginning of the season last year, DeAndre Yedlin does not start for the Sounders if he's not so speedy. In the early part of the season, he absolutely did not look comfortable defensively, and he was only able to play that position because he had the just ridiculous speed to make up for mistakes. And against quality, World Cup teams, that's not enough. Now, DeAndre Yedlin starts at right back in 4 years. I will gladly make that prediction today that he will be the U.S. starting right back in 4 years, because he's even in the conversation today, barring horrific injury or, a fall from grace. There's no reason to think that he's not the future at that position. But, again, as a huge DeAndre Yedlin fan, I don't see it. He has incredible speed. By the end of the year, his defensive positioning and thought process was certainly passable as opposed to scary, and his crosses especially got better. That was something that I really wanted to see out of him